After decades of fighting the Washington, D.C. football team to end its use of a racial slur for its mascot, Native American advocates celebrated this week as the Washington NFL team announced the retirement of the name and logo following calls from financial backers. The Black Lives Matter movement is credited for raising awareness of Indian mascots amid racial justice rallies across the country that followed the police killing of George Floyd. Individual Native Americans, national Native American organizations, and hundreds of Native American tribes across the country, including right here in New Mexico, have long called for the end of offensive and racist mascots. This week, Native writers and advocates tell correspondent Antonia Gonzalez that work on the issue is not over.
Suzanne Harjos, Sunny Klaches-Chiligi, and Rhonda Lavaldo, thank you so much for joining us this week on New Mexico in Focus.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
And Suzanne, you're in the DC area and you've been involved in change the name efforts for decades, including as lead plaintiff over the team name. Right now, we're seeing a lot of focus on racial justice in the United States. But when it comes to Native mascots and logos, team names, there's still this misunderstanding, and we even see words all the way up to the White House. Explain to us why this is harmful.
It's harmful because it interferes with our peoples and our people being able to assert our own personalities, our own identities, have our own reputations, show our own attributes, show our own humanity. It's overlaying a false persona on us as people or peoples. And this is exactly the kind of thing we were trying to get at in the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, when we said it's the Indigenous peoples who have the right to assert our own identity. It can't be laid on us from the outside. And that's what this does, besides the mockery and the slurs and the insults and all of those things, and the outright mockery of our traditions, our clothing, our appearance, our features, our things we hold sacred. It is fundamentally interfering with the way we want to relate to the world. It's putting a false wall up there and making fun of us and doing the equivalent of spitting in our faces at the same time.
And it doesn't mean the work's not over, Suzanne, is that right? You say there's, 900 or so team names that advocates like yourself are calling to end the use of the name and mascots, including in professional sports, but also in schools. So what was your take when you heard the news this week about the Washington, D.C. football team?
Whoopee. I mean, we know that they have lied many, many times in the past, and we've been here before, but it looks like they mean it this time. And, you always have to have hope that someone, even if they have a history as a liar, that this time they're telling the truth. So I hope this is the truth. That was my immediate reaction. And if so, whoopee. And then what a lot of work we have ahead of us. But it's going to be easier because the worst one has fallen, and that's king of the trash heap has fallen in the nation's capital. And that it sends a huge signal across American sports. And I think there will be a couple of hundred in the first year of these schools, and reluctance in so far from the 1960s to today. They just haven't wanted to change. I think they're going to change. They're going to see that time's up.
And Rhonda, you're an instructor at a tribal college. You're also a Native journalist, and you also live in Kansas, a city with a professional football team. Suzanne was talking about the mockery. Explain some of that, what it's like where you're at.
Well, here in Lawrence in the Kansas City area, because of we're home to Kansas City football, and they were Super Bowl champions, this immense amount of using the Arrowhead Chop song And you wouldn't just hear it during the games, you'd heard it during commercials, on the radio, in a grocery store, walking down the aisle. It was everywhere. And even billboards. I talked about a billboard I had passed, and it was McDonald's. It said, you know, you can feed the whole tribe. So it was just constantly in your face, hearing that chant. And we would hope now that they would get on board in addressing the situation, because, you know, putting out tone deaf statements saying they stand with Black Lives Matter, and, you know, you stand with Black Lives Matter, you should stand against all racial injustices against people of color.
And after you heard the announcement this week, Rhonda, what were some of the responses from Native people in Kansas when it comes to the football team there?
They're very excited. I know a lot of my friends here locally were saying it's time for the Chiefs to do the same.
And Sunny, you're here in Albuquerque, a student at UNM, but also, or a doctoral student, I should say, at UNM, but also you're a longtime sports writer, one of few Native women sports writers that I know of. You've seen a lot of racism in schools during the years of your reporting. How does that connect with the way that Native people are seeing in mascots and logos?
I think that in my initial reaction of the news with the Washington team, I was immediately thinking about all of the teams on the Navajo reservation who have mascots and logos that are chiefs or warriors or, you know, things along those lines. And the first one I thought about just right out of the gate was the Red Mesa team in Arizona, because I know that we've written stories at the Navajo Times of how the Washington Pro team has actually held camps there in trying to create some kind of camaraderie to have people say that it's okay, and that Native people feel honored to have this representation. And so my immediate concern was, you know, what's going to happen with those teams in various, not just the Navajo Nation, but the tribes in some tribes and pueblos in New Mexico that might have, you know, mascots that they feel honor them. And so it's an interesting time. Unfortunately, I'm not full-time sports writer anymore, so I'm going to miss out on some of that. But it's interesting to see things unfold.
And you have seen in past reporting some of the racism, especially with non-reservation schools, when reservation schools are playing different sports teams, and how that correlates to the way Native students see themselves, and also just how the non-Native schools see the students there. What are some of the experiences from your past reporting, Sunny, that you can share?
I think that one of the more prominent instances that stands out for me is a tournament held in the local border town, Farmington, where there are some Navajo teams that participate in that in December usually. The Navajo team was doing so well, and they were having a comeback in that tournament, and they weren't expected to do so well. And there were some white kids in the back or sitting behind me where the press table is, who were getting so upset that their team was losing. And they were saying to the players on the court, "You're just a drunken Indian. You're just going to be a drunk like the rest of your family," and, you know, things like that. And so it's definitely there. And I can't remember a time where it hasn't happened every season in one sport or another. So there's a lot of slurs that, you know, are kind of brought up with sports, and especially in the heat of the moment with competition.
And Suzanne, hearing some of what Sunny says, that connection, there's been studies with looking at Native youth and self-esteem, and also the impacts on Native youth. What's your response to the public when they say these mascots are honoring Native American tribes, Native American people?
Well, anything that dehumanizes or objectifies actual people is not good. A mascot, by definition, is not a person. It's a token. It's something that is not. It's an inanimate object. It's not. It's a name. It's a behavior. It's a tomahawk chop. It's not a person, a living person. The federal government began these names when it started the program of detribalizing Native peoples' children at the federal Indian boarding schools, and all of them were named kind of group names, the Indians and the Chiefs and the Warriors. And it was at the same time that they were trying to kill off any allegiance to Cheyenne or Sioux or Navajo or Acoma. They were trying to pan-Indianize everyone, trying to get people to dislike each other because of their tribes, because of their nations, because of their different cultures, and try to get them to think in a pan-Indian way of flattening, so that you're not valuing your teachings, you're not valuing your parents, you're not valuing the land. You are valuing an imitation of yourself, a token of yourself, a representation that has nothing to do with you personally. So all these schools on reservations, they're living the legacy that everyone has worked so hard to get rid of, that legacy of torture and assimilation in the federal Indian boarding schools. And they're carrying it out today. Even if you have a team and you say, we're the Warriors and we're the Apache Warriors, then they play another team whose job it is to hate you. Their fans hate you. You're always mocked, and it never fails. As with the White Mountain Apache team one year, the people on the other side started yelling at them, why don't you go back where you came from? That's always a favorite. And why don't you pay taxes? And what does that have to do with any game? All the racist stereotypes, historic stereotypes, come flooding out when the people are in the heat of the moment attacking your beloved image, your mascot. I say get rid of them all, because they all do harm and damage. They all cause low self-esteem, and low self-esteem is the leading cause of teenage suicide. And our teenage suicide rate has been higher than any other segment of American society for, I think, about a century. So we have to look at this as a life and death matter, because it truly is for many of our young people.
Well, I want to thank you all for joining us today and talking about this and this breaking news that happened this week. And we'll look to see what happens in Kansas City and schools across the country, both on and off the reservation. Thank you all for joining us this week.
I hope.
Thank you.